Welcome to the Way Out Recovery Hour. I'm Bob Sheritz, and here we are on another Monday. Today is a special broadcast for obvious reasons. I'm still having a little difficulty processing and thinking about the horrific tragedy that took place last night in Las Vegas. And as the news comes out and we're learning about all those lives that are affected. I have Alex Urbina has been kind enough to stay on the show today and help me process with any individuals who might want to call in. We're going to have a couple of special call-ins with therapists in the community to talk about what we can offer to anyone who needs help, but certainly to those that have been affected here in Santa Clarita. A report just came in that there's at least one confirmed Santa Clarita resident who was killed. I have talked to several people that I know in Santa Clarita who have loved ones that were either injured or were there. And so certainly our prayers go out to everyone, our condolences. Our condolences to the families who have lost their lives, who have loved ones who have lost their lives, and anything that we can do to help process that grief.
Yeah, it's like you were saying in the hour earlier, last night, this all started happening right around the end of the 10 o'clock hour. And, those of us that were, we had that shock of realizing that this is going down, and then a lot of us that knew people that were there enjoying themselves, and people that were excited to go and just get away for the weekend, and so we sat there stuck to the TVs. A lot of us didn't go to sleep. I didn't get to sleep till like 2-3 in the morning because your wheels are spinning. You're still trying to wrap your mind around it, and then knowing that people were going to wake up in the morning that got to bed early, going to wake up, and then they're going to have that process, of trying to figure out what's what's going on. Like, I got to catch up. I got to figure out. I got to jump in and catch up to speed and figure out what's happening.
Well, it's there's such a mixed emotion. There are so many different things going on in each one of our hearts right now, in each one of our heads, and the emotional process that's taking place. I come on this show every week, and because it's on a Monday, I try to remind people, Mondays can be tough for people. Let's look at the week ahead, and let's be grateful for what we have. And so I always spend a couple of minutes at the beginning of this show talking about being grateful, right? And we wake up on a day like this and you go, and for some of us looking at this, you go, how do I find my gratitude? Like, how do I find any kind of emotion that's not sadness and pain and upset, And so what I did was, I certainly didn't have the news running with my 5 and my 8-year-old on this morning, but I talked to them. I said something really bad has happened and some people have died. And I hugged them and I kissed them and I said, hey, as you start to hear about this today, and as people are talking to it, if your school needs to call me or you need to come have me run over there and just hold you, I want to be that safe place for you to hold. Before we get any further today, I want to invite anybody from the community who wants to call in and process 298-5487, and we are going to have some therapists call in. On a previous show, and one of our good friends who I've been working with in the community for a long time is a marriage family therapist by the name of Betty Sotomayor, who has come on our show to talk about the Bella Vita eating disorder, but she's a marriage family therapist with a private practice in Santa Clarita. As I was coming to the show, maybe an hour before, I got a call from Jerry, and she said, let's try to help people as much as we can. So I've been calling people in the community who work with grief and loss and tragedy in any way that they can help. So we have Betty calling in right now. Betty, are you with us?
I am. Hi, Bob.
Hi. I want to first of all thank you for, dropping everything and calling in today. I know it was very last minute, but and also in studio, with us right now is another friend of yours, Alex Urbina. So,
Yes,
so
hi Alex. How
How
are
are you?
you?
Good.
So, I woke up this morning and didn't know what to think, and I was imagining that there are a lot of people, certainly in Las Vegas, but here in Santa Clarita as well, that are just really shocked by an event like this.
Mhm.
Initially, when something like this happens, what do you suggest that people do with this?
Well, I mean, I piggyback on what you were saying earlier. I mean, I wasn't able to go to sleep yesterday because just thinking about, these people um, were thinking they were going to go and enjoy, a night of fun, and the unexpected happened, and how do we, find that comfort and safety and knowing, that um, that our loved ones are okay. So I think, everybody's response to this is going to be completely different. And I think allowing that safe place for those individuals to just share whatever they want to share, whether they want to recap what happened, whether they want to just cry, or whether they just want someone in the room and not say anything at all. It's just being respectful of like where they're at, in that in this moment.
So as a parent, as a friend, as a family member, as a coworker, if I'm interacting with people that are really, really having a hard time with this or don't know how to process it, you're saying I should just sit and listen and meet them where they're at, correct?
Exactly. I think that the one of the biggest issues, is safety. Is wanting to know that they're safe. But yes, allowing them to just to be there. What is it that you need? Do you need a distraction? Do you need for me to just listen? And sometimes they might not know what it is that they need, but knowing that you have that openness or had that communication so that they can come to you, so that they know that you will be there. Um, One of the things that for me last night was, my friends. I had a couple friends that did attend, and my thing was, are they safe? And maybe coming up with a safety plan too. That like if things like this happen, like how could we let each other know that we're okay?
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I can imagine, having some sort of plan in place as a just in case can also make us feel better. Can
Of
also make us
course.
feel better.
Of course. I know that Facebook right now has that capability of marking yourself safe in those situations. I think that that's fantastic because that definitely provided a little bit of reassurance for me, knowing that some friends were okay.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is out there, and and he marked himself as safe, and I was really happy to see that as well.
Yeah, for me,
Mhm.
me and my wife, we went into leadership mode.
Mhm.
We have a group of family members that were out there, and they all got scattered. And so what we did was we started reaching out to each one of them, and then we started posting where they were at. This one's safe. This one's unaccountable for. And so what we did was again, once we made that first phone call, and we found out that one of our
Mhm.
loved ones was in shock. Then we got a better understanding of, oh, if they're in shock, they don't even realize, one, that they split up, two, where each other are at. So we try to be that missing piece for them on the outside world to kind of keep them, like we started telling them, your sister's over here, your cousin's over
Mhm.
there, and so then they ended up taking all that information from the outside and piece it together and end up getting back to each other early this morning. So,
That's fantastic,
yeah,
Alex.
yeah,
I love that because I think that you're right. There's in that moment, people are just trying to figure out where they're going to go for safety, and for somebody else to have that, like you called it, the missing piece, absolutely, so that everybody else is is aware that they're okay.
here's another thing I want to point out, because a lot of times as professionals we talk about, we're speaking to people of how, like the average parent, what your kids need from you, how to be there for them to help them cope.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Right.
as professionals, we forget that as adults, that we might not know, we might need somebody to help pull me out too. And I just find it's weird because I do it too sometimes. I'm speaking and I give advice like, this is what people need for you to cope and all that. Sometimes that person themselves needs someone else. So I want to tell those of you that don't know how to be that for someone else, that's okay too. If you need someone else, turn around, find someone else that either is centered, grounded, or is in that mode of being that balance that you might need at that moment to help kind of pat you on the back or give you that hug or give you that reassurance that things are going to be okay as well.
Right. Right.
Well, Betty, you know, let me ask you. So, how do you have that conversation with your daughter about this? Because obviously age appropriate, but my boys are 5 and 8 years old,
Right.
and your daughter is how old? About that same age, right?
6, right?
6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Close.
So as this goes, what would you say to parents that are out there that have these young children that are they're going to hear about it. They may see some news clips. They may, have other people's opinions or whatever coming out about this. Like, how do you have that conversation with your 6-year-old daughter or any other parent who's out there who has young children?
I'm really open and honest with her, and I answer the questions that she asks. I definitely don't want to instill more fear in her than is needed for a 5 to 8 year old to carry that on. But I'm honest. I tell her that this is very sad that it happened. Is there any questions? And then again, trying to provide that sense of safety for her, because and I like that Alex brought that on or talked about that we need to take care of ourselves too, because our children look to us to see, is mom and dad okay? And sometimes that sense of perceived trauma when mom and dad are not okay and mom and dad are in this state of distress, that could cause some distress in our children. So trying to provide that sense of safety, that this is, for the most part, this world is safe. There are some people that need help, and that there's some people that are not, good people, but to try to provide that sense of safety for them and answering their questions in the most honest way that we can, but of course, age appropriate.
Yeah. So it seems like as a parent, trying to help my kids process through this stuff, that I don't want to be on either extreme.
Yeah, you want to try to come in neutral, like you said earlier. Meet them where they are, like you said with the adults.
Yes.
You want to meet your kids where they are, but come in neutral, and I'm gonna say come in neutral, but also compassionate. So when you're giving the information in a neutral way, and then they say something like, "That's sad, mommy. That hurts my heart." Then you go, "I know, honey. Me too." Like you want to bring you want to be neutral but compassionate, and then that's a good starting point. And then you kind of adjust from that, depending on where they take it. When I work with my kids, I let them be the driver, and I kind of just mold myself around who they need me to be in each moment.
Right.
Right.
Well, Betty, I know you're kind of on a timeline right here. You have another appointment, but I really appreciate you dropping everything to call in today.
Absolutely.
Is there anything
Anytime.
else? Is there anything else that you think you might want to offer?
I mean, I think in these moments, again, if anybody needs support, or if anybody just wants to reach out to me just for that support, like how do I talk to my kids, or want further information, they're more than welcome to reach me either by by email or phone.
So give us your information so that we can take note of that.
Sure. So my email address is Betty Castro Therapy @gmail.com.
Okay.
And my phone number is 661-347-6886. And I'd be more than happy to have a conversation and be a support to you, or to, or just be supportive on how you can be supportive to the loved ones as well.
Well, thank you very much for offering that. We, the listeners out there, to offer this to them, reach out to somebody. Thank you for being available, Betty. And there are a lot of great therapists. There are a lot of great support groups. There are a lot of people who, especially right now, are just open arms and want to create that safe space. And, I've known you for many years, and you've always been that person, Betty. And so thank you for opening up your heart to the community.
Of course, and thank you both for talking about this and being that for the community as well. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Betty. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
So we have a caller. We have Erin Aquaviva. She's actually a friend of mine, and she was at the event last night, and she's on the line. Erin, you there?
I'm here.
So thanks for calling in, Erin. I know it's been a very long night, and I know it's got to be tough for you. It's a challenge, right? A challenge for you.
Yeah.
Are you willing to share with us a little bit about your experience?
Sure. Absolutely. So if you've seen, those of you that are listening, if you've seen the aerial shots of the venue, where I was located was under the white tent that was along the side of the street where Mandalay Bay, across the street from Mandalay Bay. So you see the long white tent, and then next to it is that big opening where the huge crowd was. So we're listening to the music, having a good time, and out of the right side of my eye, I saw. It wasn't like the continuous shooting like you're hearing on the news. It was like 3 shots maybe, and but it was like 3 pops, and then I looked over and I saw like a light, like a flash, like it could have been a firework or something, and I thought maybe something's going on the strip because we were right next to the street. So I was just going to that place and like we're fine. I'm not gonna let my mind wander. That's not me to go to fear. So, we're still watching the show, and then probably, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds later, we heard pop, 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 and then a second round of pop, 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 and then Luke Bryant stopped. He got off the stage. We got down, and just didn't know what to do. We didn't know where it was coming from. We didn't know if somebody was going to come in to the tent. We didn't know. So we got down, and I was with two other couples and then another friend of ours that was down in the big group, the sea of people and the crowd that was kind of down below in that turf area, the general mission area. And my husband, Tony, and I, we all from the other couples kind of just like dispersed because we got down and we were kind of like just like moving quickly into a spot somewhere to get under, to get to where we might feel safe. And it was like, what is happening? This isn't happening. Like we just didn't, it wasn't real, but it was real, like we needed to move. So, so my husband and I just said, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. So we just started walking down and out the way we came, which was along the fence of the venue instead of going down the middle. So we were away from the crowd. So we were in a very sparse group of people. We didn't thankfully see a lot of any of the fatalities or injuries, aside from, scrapes and bruises as people were running out. But we weren't in a sea of people. We were kind of felt like we were by ourselves. Like we would hear the popping and the gunshots, and then we'd move to, like, we'd, get cover. We'd find a space where we could hide behind a wall or get under, and then it would stop for a second, and we'd run as fast as we could, and then it just got to a point where it was like, okay, it sounds further away. Maybe we're going the right direction, but we didn't know. We didn't know if somebody was inside. We didn't know where it was coming from, but we just felt like we were going the right direction. And I just kept saying to everybody that I saw, this is not our time. This is not our time. And we just kept going. And we got out, and then once we were out,
we didn't know where to go because we were hearing like shooter up high in the Mandalay, but there might be multiple shooters in the hotels. We didn't know if we should go in the hotel. We didn't know if we were safe on the street. We finally made it to our hotel, which was the MGM, kind of close into that corner of hotels, and maybe kind of catty corner from Mandalay. So we got to the outside of the MGM, and we just looked at each other. Do we go in? Do we stay out? We don't know. And we finally got a hold of the people that we were with. I got a hold of my friend Stacy, and she said, we're going to the room. And I said, okay, we're going to meet you there. So we met there in the room, and her sister, my girlfriend, her sister was the one that was in the middle. She had somebody who we thought maybe jumped on her to protect her. We didn't know, but she definitely, like had a body on top of her. She had blood on her. She was pretty shooken up. We were all just shooken up. Like, we couldn't believe, like, how did we all get back here together? But we made it back here together, and we're safe and we're fine. And we all had different stories of what happened. And then we stayed in the hotel room because they closed down the street. So we just stayed. And then we went to our separate rooms, but we were all on the same floor, so we were just, still staying in touch. But and then at 4 a.m. this morning, they opened up the streets, or we heard that they opened up the streets, and we just said we're on the road. We came home, so we were back home to Santa Clarita by 9:30 this morning.
I'm guessing that your kids are being bombarded with lots of hugs and kisses and
yeah, like
this
you.
morning.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't really know what happened. I didn't send them to school. Because I wasn't here. I didn't know what was going to be said at school, and I didn't want them to feel scared because they hadn't seen us yet to know that we were okay. So they stayed home from school today. So yeah, when we walked in, we just loved on them big time and cried a little bit. And they asked why we were crying. We just said we're so excited to see you, and we're just being with them today. We don't really know how to be with them about it. They don't know what happened. But that's where we're at.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. I want you to know that I'm here in your corner to support you, to help you get yourself back to where you're that loving, caring, compassionate mom that can go out and still enjoy yourself, and I'm committed to you. So let's walk this walk together.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quickly, have you slept yet?
I slept for about an hour.
So are you just kind of on adrenaline, like?
Yeah, it's gone in and out. I mean, I've felt sick to my stomach. When we were going through it, it was like you set aside the fear and your adrenaline is just pumping through. But now, looking back, it's more like now the fear is setting in of like what we went through, like the visions and the sounds, just the constant sounds of the gunshots, and you just feel like you're under attack and you don't know where it's coming from.
Thank you for your bravery in sharing this recent experience. I know that it is bringing those visions back to you, and I want to say thank you because it's such an important part of the process for you and your loved ones and everyone who is affected by this to continue to talk about it as comfortably as you possibly can, as much as you possibly can, because it will lose its power.
That's right.
The more that you talk about it, the more you sort through it.
Yeah, you at a certain point you get so tired and fed up of saying this story over and over again and talking about the fears. The process, the way to get out is to go through it. You just got to keep pushing through and trust that there's a healing process in it, and eventually you say it so many times that you actually surrender it. You talk it out to where you get off of it.
Well, and I know that by you calling in today with your bravery, that there are other people that are listening to the show today that it's going to allow them to open a dialogue about their experience.
Yeah,
as
to
well.
somebody, anybody.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
All right, thank you, Aaron.
All right,
We'll
thank
talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, this is Bob Sheritz with the Way Out Recovery Hour, and we are doing special broadcasts today in studio with Alex Urbina, and we're going to do our best to continue to talk about and help those affected by this tragedy to process what's been happening and what they're going through. We'll be back in a few minutes.
And every kid that came up to me and said I was
Canyon Country now has a one-stop printing shop.
Feathers, photo signs and printing.
Feathers, signs, banners, business cards, embroidery, photo restoration, picture framing, car wraps, all under one roof.
Transfer your old videos, slides, and 8mm movies to DVD.
Print custom t-shirts and jackets with your team or business logo.
Create a banner for your school.
It's all possible at Feathers.
Feathers, you've driven by them daily on Soledad across the street from the Edwards Theaters next to the coffee kiosk.
Discover Feathers, Canyon Country's one-stop printing shop.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located in Old Town Newhall, the CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go to canyontheater.org.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call the Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrocoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
KHTS. We fall so hard, now we gotta get back what we lost.
Welcome back to the Way Out Recovery Hour. I'm Bob Sheritz, and we have a special broadcast today. I'm in studio with Alex Urbina, life coach and author. And in the wake of this horrible tragedy that took place in Las Vegas last night, we are offering to the community as much support as we can possibly offer. And that is really what today is going to be about for a lot of us. You know, over at our...
Are you willing to have a support group if one starts to cultivate?
Absolutely.
I am too. So let's throw that out there. If there's enough people that want to come and talk about it, let's create that. And,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We will offer our space at the Way Out.
Okay, perfect.
And let's do that. You know, on Mondays is our big family night. We do a family gathering every week where we help families process. And I generally start to think about and kind of look at what that's going to look like the following week. But it was very obvious what our family group is going to be tonight. It's just going to be helping people process their own grief, because there are a lot of families that are sitting out there that are really sort of detached from this, including myself. I mean, I see it in the news. It affects me. It's horrible, right? But I wasn't there. Right, and I don't really have loved ones that are there. But what this is doing for me is it's going to trigger a lot of my own stuff that's going on.
That's
and
right.
so, you know, sometimes
and we live through other people. Like we'll see something and it'll trigger our own experiences that's similar to that experience.
Well, I mean, just the phone call that we got prior to that break right there, as she was talking about her experience, I found my mind going to, I was envisioning that, but it also took my memories back to some significant events that are starting to, and so we want to offer that safe space. That's one of the biggest things that we can do.
So is that open to the public tonight?
No, tonight is not open to the public.
But if they call, you'll set up a special night.
Absolutely.
All right,
and
I'll be there too.
Yep,
we will.
We'll set everything aside and make it happen as quickly as we possibly can. And we are inviting anyone who's listening to please call in. Anyone who wants to share any of their emotions, their thoughts, their feelings, or whatever is going on right now. 298-5487. The mic is open.
And if you're just joining us, what we're talking about obviously is the Las Vegas shooting that apparently now tops the list of worst mass shootings in U.S. history. And we've been on the air now for about an hour and a half talking about creating this safe space to communicate and express ourselves, what you're feeling. We've been talking about that. It's emotionally healthy to communicate it and express it and get it off your chest, make sense of it, and have open dialogues where you can. It's like a ball we can toss back and forth to each other until the momentum dies out and we go, all right, I've exhausted that conversation. I'm ready to move on. And so that's just a part of the process.
And I think, grief and loss and tragedy and processing through that isn't, it's not a one-time deal. It's it's going to come in waves.
Are you talking about to get off of it? You mean?
I'm talking about the process for each individual as we go through
absolutely.
it. It's going to come in waves. It's going to hit you at times when you're not ready for it. It's going to hit you in different ways, like you were saying earlier. I might be, after experiencing something like this, I might be triggered by loud noises or big crowds, but I might just have those days where it hits me and all of a sudden I'm sitting in this funk.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the heck's going on with me.
Yeah. It's all of a sudden this somber feeling that just comes over you and you just don't feel like going anywhere today, or you just don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I may wake up in fear and not be able to put two and two together. Oh, wait, that thing just happened a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm waking up and I'm sort of terrified of my surroundings. And I think that over and over again, what we've been talking about is one of the most important tools that we can use to help us through any of these difficult processes is to reach out to people, to have a safe space, just to have somebody that we can talk to, or to provide that safe space as well, because I want to be there for others.
So I just thought about a conversation that happened between me and my wife and my 21-year-old daughter last night as we were going through this process. It opened up this dialogue and a conversation that we wanted to have with my daughter about being more mindful when she's at some events like that, or at concerts, or at these. And we just started having these what ifs conversations. And I like the what ifs because it prepares us, right? We have these dialogues beforehand, such that if we find ourselves in those situations, all of those talks kick in. Right. Just like parenting your kids and teaching them morals and behaviors and certain patterns that you've talked. So then real life happens. All of that parenting and all that wisdom kicks in, and they just kind of make those choices because they hear your voice at that time. So the conversation we were having was, if you're ever in that kind of situation, my daughter goes, "What do I do?" And both me and my wife look at my daughter and we said, "Run." Right. You run. And she says, and then the conversation came up, what if people need my help and they fall? And I hate to say this, but I look at that old axiom when you're on the plane, they tell you to give yourself the oxygen mask first, such that you can now, you got to save yourself before you can save other people. Right. And I know that there's courageous heroes out there that will give up their own life, or they will sacrifice their own safety to go save other people. And my daughter is a very loving and caring person, and she was like, but what about those other people? And I was like, you have to take care. You have to first get to your own safety. From your own safety, then you can look around and help people. But I wanted to share that out loud because that was a conversation that was, literally 12 hours ago. We had that last night.
And and Betty, who was on earlier, marriage family therapist, had said the same thing. Is we want to prepare for emergencies. We want to be prepared for that, and we want to have those conversations that you're talking about. And also, one of the things that keeps popping up in my mind as we're talking about that is to say thank you to the first responders.
Absolutely.
Because there are people that put their lives in danger. I can't imagine what it must be like to have a job where I purposefully go into a situation like that.
It's their commitment.
You
While
know?
everyone's running to save their life, they're running towards
Absolutely.
the tragedy.
And we can't say enough to thank anybody who was able to help in this horrible situation. But also, we were talking about balance earlier, right? Is as a parent or as somebody that's supportive, whether first responder or otherwise, is I don't want to be all the way on the side where I'm, oh my God, because I'm instilling extra fear into people, right? I want to try to be calm and collected, but I also don't want to be so courageous and heroic that I'm stuffing the way that I'm feeling and trying to just be a hero and live over here. Remember that if you are supporting someone else, like you said earlier, whether it's my kids, my loved ones, a community member, whatever, that I take the time to stop and check in with myself. How am I doing with this right now? Because I can go into hero mode real quick. I can go into, like you said earlier, like I have the answers or something, right? And I forget to stop and go, okay, wait a minute, Bob. How's Bob dealing with this right now?
Yeah.
How's Alex dealing
Yeah.
with this right now? Do I have that person that I can call, right? And with first responders, I know there's a lot of wonderful programs out there that can help with that, but there is a thing called compassion fatigue. There are specific sort of PTSD disorders that go around. We have these people that step in, and they're the most wonderful people in the world, heroes. And if they don't take care of themselves in the aftermath of tragedy or lifelong saving people, that they can have real issues as well. So remember to take care of yourselves individually. Back to that, right? Like I can't save anybody else if I don't have appropriate self-care as well.
Yeah, you got to look out for yourself. And, when Aaron was talking earlier, sharing that story, there's the ego that its main job and its main function is to keep us safe. It is the fight or flight mode, and its job is to protect us from anything that has danger. So it's like a warning sign that when you hear a rattling of the tree and you look, you go, oh my God, there's a falling tree. Your ego says, get out of the way or save yourself. And that's what ego's job is to do, is to save us. And so in that moment, when finally people recognize that those weren't fireworks, that those were bullets, those were intentional bullets that were intended to kill people. Now all of a sudden ego says, now you got to run and go find safety and save yourself. And that's the purpose of being in tune and being in touch with that fight or flight mode, because that's what it took. But now we're talking about after that kicks in and you get to safety, now there's this whole process that starts to unfold, and that's the getting through the shock and then getting out through the shock or past the shock, and now starting to process what
happened.
I was there,
right?
And then you start looking at headlines like it's now the worst mass shooting in history, and then now you got to be careful not let your mind run with it,
right?
Because your mind,
your
right? Mind could
Yeah.
really make up these incredible stories that can cause a tremendous amount of fear in you and anxiety, to where you literally now for the next 3 to 6 months are checked out. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to go outside and feed your dog. There's you know what I'm saying? It could literally go to that side. So if you feel like you're at that kind of extreme, you got to reach out and find yourself a therapist. Go out and you got to find a professional to help you make sense of this stuff so you can work through it, get past it, have a breakthrough on the other side, such that you can live your life powerfully.
I want to be aware of that stuff. So as Alex is talking, we're listening to that, and I hear you say like 3 to 6 months. Like I could be going through that process for a while. I really want to be aware of what's happening with me. I really want to have a support system around me. I really want to have people to talk to. There are a lot of wonderful organizations and individuals in the Santa Clarita Valley that are a safe space for us to call. One of the resources that we oftentimes look to and we coordinate with is the Health and Wellness Center over at College of the Canyons. Larry Schallert is our go-to guy over there. And we reached out to, I think, Alex, you reached out to him earlier and said, hey, we need professionals to come on and talk about what's going on the show. And Larry was kind enough to send us some things via email. I kind of want to go over this list.
Yeah, let's do it. Before we do that,
yes,
let me just, I'm going to add one more thing. There's no doubt in my mind that we are abundantly blessed with such amazing community support and all the different professionals that we have in healing and health and wellness to really help this whole community thrive. I don't see that being an issue.
Right.
We're not understaffed and we're not undercommitted to having this community just really take off. I think that the issue lies with the common person that doesn't say, "Hey, I need help."
Right, right.
I mean, you're in this business of saving lives and helping people. I'm sure you run across some kind of trend where people just don't want to acknowledge that, hey, maybe I do need help. Instead of thinking of getting to a place called, hey, I need help, how about just be open to the possibility that you might need it?
Well,
that's a starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, and right. I mean, we say it every week, and as often as possible. When we introduce our show, asking for help is the first step.
So how do you know you need help, or what are some of the signs that you can't see? Because I'm visualizing that if you need help and you don't recognize you need help because you're the one that's in it, maybe you need someone else. You got to look at other people and see how they're watching you. I've heard a lot of people say, wow, it wasn't until my mom finally said, hey, son, maybe you need some help. Here's a number. Like sometimes, we're dying inside and we're desperate that we need help, but ego won't let us raise our hand and say, hey, I need help. Yeah.
I think opening the dialogue, even if you're sitting there thinking, I'm fine, I'm good. It didn't affect me. I'm good. I can handle this, right? I think it's very, very important for people to open a dialogue anyway, because you'll be surprised sometimes.
That's right.
That in the middle of that
That's right.
dialogue,
That's
you'll
right.
say, oh, heck, man, wow, it really has affected me. And to be unaware of that, but to bounce it off somebody else. Not even from the perspective of, hey, Alex, I'm calling you because I need help.
Well,
to say, can you talk to me for
Well,
a
I can
minute,
tell you this
right?
much. I've been in the field of personal development and personal transformation for 20, a little over 25 years, and it's affected me.
Right. Right.
I think the only difference is that I don't care what people think about me. I don't care about my ego. I want to heal and get better, and so it doesn't. So for me, even just being on the radio right now and for the last hour and a half, I'm already healing.
Right.
And it kind of feels a little selfish because I know I'm here to contribute and help other people, but I'm healing myself. And so when you say just start a dialogue with somebody, please do that, because that one dialogue, it could also open up some other things that pop up that you didn't know that were hidden. They're like transparent seeds that just start popping up out of a simple conversation.
Well, I think as both of us are professionals in the community and in the world, and our job really we've dedicated our life to trying to better the quality of life for others. That's my life's purpose these days,
absolutely.
right? To go out there and to sort of talk from the hilltops that there is no issue that can't be broached. Our job is to try to erase the stigma, not only in something like this where I go, I'm fine and I can deal with it. Not only that, but in all areas of difficult things that are things that are hard to talk to make it, to go out there and publicly say it's okay to not be okay.
That's right.
It's okay to be a strong dad and to cry
and to feel sad.
It's okay
to have sympathy.
In fact, it's not only okay; it's appropriate.
That's right. To feel. In fact, in my book, The Inspirational Parent, I talk about all those different ways of being that our kids need from us, and their authenticity, vulnerability.
Right.
Honesty. And so a lot of those things is what's necessary to be able to access those, especially in tragedies like this. Be open, be honest, communicate it, express it, and all those kinds of good things.
Yeah, I love the word vulnerability that you just threw out there, right? So, be vulnerable. It's okay. Rewrite the story that's in my head. Is I get to show up for others, but I still need help as well.
So earlier when we started the first show, I got dry mouth, so I was, and you could probably go back and listen to it, but my words were stopping because my throat was getting dry, and I had to, after we went on the break, I had to do a check-in and realize that what I was doing, the reason I was getting like that, was because I was stopping my emotions.
You were holding back.
I was holding my emotions, and to hear Aaron share that story gave me permission to just feel what I'm feeling. And forget about being a professional, forget about being a life coach, forget about, being strong, a father for my kids. They don't care about that. They want you to be real. And if you want your kids to be healthy and express themselves, you got to be willing to go there first. I think that's the first step, is being willing to go there and have the courage to feel your feelings and experience your experiences. Because if not, you're going to be numb, you're going to be checked out, you're going to be disconnected. And that's the starting point of healing, is being honest with those feelings and give yourself permission to feel those.
Authenticity. Yeah. I know. Thank you. Not that I ever want to stop that process. And I'm not saying that you did this, but when we started this show today, and I said, as soon as I said the word Las Vegas, like it nailed, I don't know why, like it just hit me, right? Well, because I'm feeling it. And I started to go, and I sat there for a minute, and you jumped in and kept the show going, which I appreciate very much. But I've had that experience on this show with some of the wonderful, authentic people that we get to work with, is I've had countless times where I get to let those tears come up, and I love that feeling too.
Yeah,
and I used to run from that. I used to spend time running from that, right?
But all the running was the suppression that caused some of your dysfunctions in the first place.
Of course.
Now you had that realization and go, this is the part of me that gets to heal and be free.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful to be a vulnerable feeling person in this world and be able to share that with others. We are going to take a break and then come back and wrap this show up. This is the Way Out Recovery Hour with a special broadcast. We'll be right back.
For the first time in our history, 50% off of everything in the store. It's the huge 40th anniversary sale going on now at a Royal Suite. Everything, yes, everything is on sale at 50% off. Bedrooms, dining rooms, living rooms, recliners, and Murphy beds, all at 50% off. Even the huge selection of mattresses from Diamond and Englander. See the new line of adjustable beds at 50% off. Nothing will be held back. Everything from every manufacturer. Come early for the best selection. Everything 50% off at the big 40th anniversary sale at a Royal Suite in Center Point across from Sam's Club or at aroyalsuite.com.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers and Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
KHTS. We fall so hard, now we gotta get back up. We lost.
Welcome back to the Way Out Recovery Hour. I'm Bob Sheritz in studio in a special broadcast with Alex Urbina, life coach and author of The Inspirational Parent. And for obvious reasons, you know, all shows have been put on hold and we're doing special broadcasts because of the tragic events that took place in Las Vegas last night and everything that is unfolding as a result of that. Our purpose today is to just to open a space where anybody who wants to can call in and we can help process the grief and loss and pain and everything that people are going through. So as we do this, if you want to call in, please do so, 298-5487. I also, you know, we live in such a wonderful, wonderful community of helpful persons here in the Santa Clarita Valley, and I can't say enough about that. But I really want to thank Carl and Jerry, who just walked in and said, keep on, don't stop this show. This is such an important thing to talk about today, and we want to offer people healing, that they just walked in and said, just keep on rolling with the show. So we're going to we're going to stop at the top of the hour, but then we're just going to keep on rolling with it and allow people, again, a space to process and heal as much as they possibly can, still right in the middle of what's happening now.
Yeah, I think the key is to really cause the awareness. Just us having this conversation causes awareness for people to be in the question. What do I do? What do I say to my kids? How do I make sense of this? And if you're really listening to some of the golden nuggets that have been dropped on this show from some of the professionals and some of the therapists that have called in, I think that for me the takeaway is to let it be okay to feel what you're feeling. to not resist what's coming up for you, to not live in the illusion that it doesn't affect you, or just chalking it up to, hey, it's just the way the world is now, or give yourself permission to feel, give yourself permission to be compassionate, give yourself permission to hurt. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to be sad or afraid.
There's a whole lot of really, really strong, powerful, tremendous superheroes out there, right? As parents, as loved ones. There's moms and dads that are listening right now that are they show up for their kids and they're totally in it, and that's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. But I want to offer you this. You said some words earlier, and I just want to offer this to our community. It is absolutely okay to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to feel the pain that you're feeling, and to express that pain. You don't have to be the superhero all the time. Each one of us has our needs, and we want to be able to express those things. When you were talking earlier, Alex, and as soon as you said that word vulnerability, I'm like, right now is a time in a lot of people's life where they're going to want to go one of two ways, right? Either totally break down or totally close up. And there's a middle ground in there where we can let our vulnerability be seen, and we can say, it hurts right now. Please hold me. Please listen to me. Please let me listen to you.
And when all else fails, if you find yourself not being vulnerable, because there's a lot of analytical people that go to their head, especially when trauma happens.
Try to make sense.
Yeah, we go to the head instead of go to the heart. So sometimes you could be beating yourself up going, how come I can't feel right now? How come I can't be vulnerable? So don't do that. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself permission that it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, even if you're numbing out, even if you're checking out. The trick is to be aware of it. It's being aware of it. And if all else fails, at least be honest. You can always default and fall back on honesty. You know what, son? Right now, I'm kind of checked out. I'm numb. It's okay to say that. Just be honest. I think what our kids are looking for is for their parents to just be authentic and honest about how they're feeling instead of trying to pretend to be something that your kids already know you're not. What's amazing is your kids are they know you better than you know yourself because they've been watching you for as long as they've been alive.
They've been feeling you.
So when you're trying to act like you got everything under control, they know you don't because the words don't match the emotion, the feeling, and all that kind of stuff. So if you're sad, it's okay to tell your son or daughter, I'm sad, or you know what, I don't know, I just numbed out, or it's okay to have that dialogue. They're not going to think less than you. I think the major fear that parents have is, if I show vulnerability, they're going to use that against me. If I show them that I'm hurting, if I show them I'm afraid, then now the fear comes up that they're going to use that against me. And what I found when it comes to showing your authentic self to your kids is that 99.9% of the time, your kids are more excited and trustworthy of you sharing that special gift with them, rather than them taking what you're revealing to them and using it against you. Most of us are compassionate human beings, and we don't want to take advantage of each other like that, and your kids don't either.
That's right. So it's okay to feel anything that you're feeling today. We are going to roll into the top of the hour right now and take a commercial break, and then we're going to keep going with this afterwards. So again, if you want to call in 298-5487, please do so. This is the Way Out Recovery Hour, and we will be back after this break.
KHTS, Canyon Country, Santa Clarita.
It's 1 o'clock, time for KHTS National News powered by CNN.
KHTS.
Special report, mass shooting in Las Vegas. A bell tolling 3 times as a solemn President Trump pauses on the White House South Lawn for a moment of silence honoring the victims of last night's massacre in Las Vegas. At least 58 people killed, over 500 injured, many of them still in critical condition as doctors in Las Vegas area hospitals struggle to keep them alive. Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman putting out a call for blood.
What we ask for is blood. That's the main thing right now, is that if our people want to do something and they are healthy, then please donate donate blood. We'll have plenty of bags available. Always call a hospital if you're unsure where to go.
Dead shooter Stephen Paddock's brother, Eric Paddock, meanwhile, is dumbfounded.
He was my brother. Yeah. It's like an asteroid fell out of the sky.
Eric Paddock says his brother was non-political, and this is a total surprise. The FBI says they found no links to terror, even though ISIS has tried to claim credit. I'm Michael Toscano. President Trump publicly pulled back his Secretary of State this weekend when it was learned Rex Tillerson had opened up a back channel to North Korea and was trying to negotiate with them. Trump tweeting, "It's a waste of time talking with the North Koreans." At the White House this afternoon, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders putting that in a more strategic light.
There's a difference between talking and putting diplomatic pressure. We still strongly support putting diplomatic pressure on North Korea, which we're continuing to do. But now is not the time simply to have conversations with North Korea.
Bad news for fans, friends, and family of musician Tom Petty. TMZ reports Petty was rushed from his Malibu, California home to UCLA Santa Monica Hospital last night after he was found unconscious, not breathing, and in full cardiac arrest. EMTs were able to get a pulse, but TMZ says he was put on life support. I'm Michael Toscano.
A fast, easy way to get great deals on travel, all yours on One Travel. Convenience is key. From our quick download mobile app to great airline, hotel, car rental, and vacation deals at your fingertips instantly. Join the One Travel Rewards program and earn points to use on future One Travel purchases. Use our app to book and double your points. Book a hotel and earn triple points. Go to onetravel.com or call 888-898-2471. That's 888-898-2471.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Pumpkins are back in Santa Clarita, just a short ride up Bouquet Canyon. Introducing the Gilchrist Farm Harvest Festival and Pumpkin Patch, with pumpkins, pumpkins, and more pumpkins. Open from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. daily in October, the festival is full of pony rides, farm animals, live entertainment, farm crafts, and pig races. Book your professional photo session in the Pumpkin Patch. Learn how to milk a goat, gather eggs, and best of all, pick your perfect Halloween pumpkin. Nostalgia's returned to Santa Clarita. It's now at Gilchrist Farm. GilchristFarm.com.
You got some aches and pains, you weekend warrior, chronic inflammation or chronic pain? Well, guess what? I've got a solution for you. It's called Men Cryotherapy, right here in Santa Clarita. Men Cryotherapy is what the major leaguers are using to mend their aches and pains. They're in the LA Fitness Shopping Center on Newhall Ranch Road. They could be a wonderful blessing for you to relieve you of your joint pain and regain your mobility. Remember the name, Men Cryotherapy, or check them out at mencryotherapy.com. That's MEND cryotherapy.com.
At Jersey Mike's, we make a sub above. Bread baked fresh, veggies served crisp, meat and cheese sliced on the spot. Then comes the juice. Red wine vinegar and olive oil blended to perfection. It's what makes a Jersey Mike's sub a sub to behold. And beholding? Well, we think that works best with two hands. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Your Santa Clarita Jersey Mike's, a proud sponsor of Santa Clarita Sports.
A positive urine test does not confirm pregnancy. It only indicates you may be pregnant. If you used a home test and need answers immediately, the SCV Pregnancy Center will provide immediate pregnancy test results and uses the latest technology to confirm and diagnose pregnancy. To have a possible pregnancy confirmed, call the SCV Pregnancy Center at 255-0082. The center specializes in pregnancy testing and confirmations. 255-0082. All services are free and confidential. Walk-ins welcome.
Everyone here at KHTS is sending good thoughts and prayers to those affected by this horrific mass shooting in Vegas. We are hearing that there could be some Santa Clarita ties to this incident.
Yeah, the Santa Clarita Valley is the gateway to Las Vegas.
If you know anyone in the Vegas area, they are in desperate need of blood, so if you can pass that on. Also, the president has asked us today...
Fly our flags at half-mast.
Yes.
More information as we get it, any Santa Clarita ties, any new updates on any of the information coming out nationally, you can go to hometownstation.com.
1, 2. Now, those 3+ years I was so proud of.
Welcome back to a special broadcast. This is a carryover from the Way Out Recovery Hour. So I'm Bob Sheritz in studio from the Way Out. We also have Alex Urbina, the inspirational parent, in studio. We are gonna. What we are doing is just opening a dialogue and opening a safe space for people to be able to process their feelings and their thoughts and what they're going through on the heels of this horrific tragedy that took place last night. Prior to the end of our last show, I had mentioned one of our wonderful resources in the community, Larry Schallert from the Health and Wellness Center over at College of the Canyons, and we had asked him for some help and some resources. He sent us a very, very helpful printout that I want to go over. It is quick tips for dealing with disaster trauma. And I just kind of want to go through the list for any listeners and see if we've got these basic bases covered. So first thing on the list, safety and comfort. Find out where people are living. Is it safe? Explore their current needs and concerns. So in the moment of what's going on, I heard you, Alex, talk about, you said at our home it became like a central hub for finding out that any of our loved ones were okay last night while it was happening.
Yeah, me and my wife, our leadership skills kicked in from training and leadership development, and because we weren't there but needed to know where our loved ones were, and we realized after the first call that one of our loved ones was in shock and didn't know what was going on and was panicking and didn't know where they got separated. So what we did was we just started making phone calls and looking up different things and reaching out, because we thought if one of them is in disarray and is in shock, then the other ones don't know. They're in shock too, and they're not using their phone. They're not calling. So then when we started calling them, they all started answering, and we realized, well, none of you guys are calling each other because you're all in shock. So we became that kind of that hub to be able to get the information and then call each other back and go, okay, so-and-so's here, so-and-so's there. So when it's safe, make your way back to the... So we helped do our end from the outside.
Right, like a coordination center, right?
Yeah, that we felt like, okay, you kind of feel hopeless just sitting there watching TV, but with the internet and with all these tools that technology gives us in today's world, we use that to try to help get them the information they need to get them back together from whatever advantage point that we had that they didn't, because they were in it, and they were affected by it, and they were in this cloud or this fog, so to speak, and we weren't. So we were kind of helping them with that info.
So basic needs are something that in the middle of a tragedy or slightly afterwards we can forget about. When our caller earlier, Erin, called in and was sharing her experiences from last night, because she was there, her and her husband were there, and some of their friends, and she was sharing that experience. Sort of after she shared that, you had asked her, did you get any sleep? Basic needs are some of the things that we need to look at right away. Have I eaten today? I just went through this tragedy, and maybe I haven't slept all night long, or I haven't eaten.
That's right.
Community resources at the time of an event like this. Where are the local police? Where do if I find myself in disarray or I can't get back to my hotel, where's the local resource that I can go through? Where's the safe shelter? Where's the safe place to be? So immediate physical well-being is the number one concern.
I'm glad that you actually painted that picture, because there are some people probably that are still up. If you were up last night and you got hooked on it, you could still be up right now and still have created this fear and this conversation and these stories that are being made up in your mind that just keep trickling onto each other, that you're so wound up that you can't sleep. So if you're listening and you're one of those people, take a time out, shut all the technology off, lower the lights, just sit there, close your eyes, meditate, pray, do whatever you need to do, just to slow everything down, because you need to shut the motor down. You need to get some sleep. If you haven't eaten yet, before you go to sleep, just throw some stuff in your system such that you're not depleted. Drink water, stay hydrated, take care of yourself.
There's a saying that we use to check in with yourself on a regular basis in the recovery process. We ask you to halt. Stop everything you're doing and halt. HALT. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? And check in with yourself. Halt. Stop everything I'm doing, right? And am I hungry? When's the last time I ate? I've gone through something like this. I might not have eaten in 24 hours. Am I angry? Anybody who is experiencing this has a measure of anger that's going on in them. Am I lonely? Well, in this tragedy right here, right, I could be sitting here thinking there's this big scary world and I'm all alone in it, right? And am I tired? I want to check in with those 4 basics right there and kind of do what you said. Meditate, check everything out, take some deep breaths. Tell my people around me I love you, give them a hug. You know, when Erin called in earlier, she said we kept the kids out of school and made sure that they knew we were okay, and we're just spending our day loving on our kids.
I like that.
Loving on our
it's
kids,
awesome.
you know. Expected reactions. In the immediate aftermath of a disaster, people may experience disbelief. That was mentioned when Erin was sharing her story. I can't believe this is happening. Disbelief, anxiety, anger, fearfulness, sadness, worry, uncertainty, and even guilt. Even guilt. If I'm witnessing something like that, I could be replaying in my mind, oh my God, I should have done something more to help that person. And there's just different things that we do with our inside of our brain. So
yeah, and a lot of times, you know, when we're experiencing those things, or if you're hearing your loved one experience those, a lot of times we start to go to our mind and figure out, what do I say to that? How do I help or support this person? And I want to tell you that if you don't have the answers, it's okay that you don't have them. You don't have to always have the answers for somebody. Right. I think it's just you knowing that they're going to go through that process, and you don't have to fix it. Sometimes just in your silence, you can give a space for them to figure out their own solutions.
Well, there is no making sense of something like this,
yeah.
so you don't have to have the answers.
No, in fact, you probably don't have them. I don't have them. Right. We don't have answers, but we have opinions. If you feel solid in your opinion that you can help them, kind of relax a little bit or make sense of it, and you have a little bit of experience doing that, then go ahead and trust yourself and do that. But if you don't have to say anything powerful or enlightening. You don't have to be that person for them that you think that you need for them. If all things fail, go back to, like I said, be honest. Hey, you know what? I feel like that too. Or you know what? This is new for me as well. Come here, give me a hug. Right. And then when honesty fails, go to affection. Hold their hand. Put your arm around them. Just be compassionate.
Well, and on our list is contact and engagement. In the middle of this, engaging other people and contact with others, right? And it talks about listening to the stories. And so as I go through my day or as I go through my week, and this topic is being talked about over and over, if I notice, and I know my friends and I know my family very well. So if I know Alex and I notice that we're talking about this, and all of a sudden Alex has got this faraway look and he's just kind of over there, I want to take a moment to go over and put my hand on your shoulder and say,
hey, you okay?
Yeah, are you cool? Let's contact each other eye to eye, man. Everything cool, right? And if not, that's okay too. I just want you to know I'm right here. I'm in this space with you right now, And signs of distress. People affected by traumatic events may require mental health. Something we don't maybe think about is the people that were at this event. Some of them may have previously existing conditions as well, right? Or, later on that stuff may come up. But we often, I work almost exclusively in the world of alcoholism and drug addiction, and all the issues that come along with that. But that is the center of what we deal with. And an event like this, in the aftermath of what the heck do you do with that, a brain that has already had experiences with drugs and alcohol, whether in recovery or not, the brain is going to go, I know how to deal with this. I know how to check out from this situation right here.
Is that what you would call a trigger?
Oh, absolutely. It's a trigger, yeah. And a trigger to using, but also could be a trigger to somebody who's previously suffered from depression or anxiety. This can spin that off as well.
Well, the trigger just becomes a coping mechanism, right?
Well, the trigger is the event that can set in motion a retreat back to the old unhealthy coping mechanism,
Got it.
right?
Right.
And so what we do in even in processing something as new and as fresh as this tragedy is we try to, when I feel that way, automatically go to a healthy, and then the trigger becomes a trigger to the healthy new coping skill.
Yeah. So what I love most about what you do is the groups that you set up. Prior to even doing work with you or even knowing about what you guys do there, I never really been to a group. I've had transformational trainings where we get in the centers and we talk, but some of the groups that you do are so healing and so transformational in their own way. It's so powerful, and I'm like, I love groups. Groups are so therapeutic, and it's the natural part of you healing yourself. And you don't have to all be business professionals. You're just a group of committed people that trust in this sacred space called let's have a safe space where we can just share and not be judged and just get it all off our chest. Yeah. And then when you trust that process and you trust that team or that group of people, when you're walking out of that room, you're feeling so free. You're feeling light. You're feeling healthier again because you were able to get some of that off your chest, get it off of your mind, and you're able to express it.
Well, human beings are social creatures, and we really need that. That is an absolute basic need. We have to be a community.
Yeah, we got to connect.
Yeah, and when we can,
we need to be heard. We need to be validated. Our opinion needs to be validated that it's important or that it matters or that someone else agrees or disagrees. We need to be able to have that interaction. It's like the ball. I toss the ball to you. You toss it to me. We're still little kids just playing ball with each other, but we're doing it with our words and our feelings and our emotions. And that's why I love this one. It says to connect back to people. And that picture for me, I visualize people not connecting. I see them disconnecting or hiding out or isolating themselves, and that's an unhealthy thing. So that's what you don't want to do. Right now is the time where you want to get out and share, even if it's just real quick to the person at the grocery store, the checker, is just, or the person in the parking lot or something. You just want to have just a little outlet to start flushing some of it out.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say the person at the grocery store. There's kind of in our family groups over there, it's kind of a little joke that they've thrown back on me as I've offered them a tool that may seem silly, but I think it's really, really super important, is when I'm in the grocery store line, I try to teach people, I say, put your phone away, and there is not one person in the world or nothing, there's nothing that is more important than the person that is standing right in front of you. And whether it's your kids or the person at the checkout line, put your phone away and connect with that person, because we're social creatures that long for that connection. And I think a lot of the suffering that we feel is born out of, like, I'll experience a tragedy like this, and part of me says, I just don't want to talk about it. I want to check out. And in that loneliness and in that isolation, there's a lot of suffering that can be born.
Absolutely. And I see it with kids in the training rooms, especially if they've gone through a divorce, and you'll find out that the mom and the dad both sought therapy but forgot to have therapy for their kids. And what their kids did is they checked out, they numbed out, they isolated, they became a loner, and then the suffering just started cultivating. So it's no secret that the way that you heal yourself is to express, is to share it, is to communicate it, is to express it. But the key thing is, before you can do all that, you have to be honestly aware and checking in with yourself and asking yourself, how do I feel? Yeah. A lot of us don't do that. We don't look and go, okay, Alex, how are you feeling right now?
How are you doing right now?
I'm a little sad. I'm a little nervous. And that takes a deep, honest ability to be really honest with yourself.
Yeah, I just thought, as you were talking about that, I just thought of a little sort of mantra. Feeling is healing. Feeling is healing, right? And the reason I say that is because, our addiction and other disorders are born out of me gravitating towards unhealthy coping skills so that I don't feel what I'm feeling right now.
That's right.
In the aftermath of a tragedy like this, there are going to be many people who do not want to feel the pain. And what they will do is they'll gravitate towards, checking out. And we don't the healing doesn't take place when I check out. It takes place when I check in.
And then through years of multiple checking out, you become so numb that you forgot what it feels like to feel alive.
Right.
So then now you start seeking things that are external to feel alive again.
To feel anything,
To
right?
feel, just to feel
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And that's where the Way Out Recovery comes in, because it's all part of what you guys do and the addiction and helping people heal. You know, I want to thank you, man, for taking the time to come out and well, for one, letting me on the show. And this is cool. This is, you know, it's healing for me and you know, as much as that probably healing for other people, and just sharing and being open and honest and vulnerable.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. You know, it really states to the community we have here in the Santa Clarita Valley is that this morning all the phone calls started and people were reaching out and we're all starting to talk to each other. And the general consensus is the obvious. There is nothing more important than what's happening right now.
That's right.
And we need everybody to know that there is a safe place. I want to state it once again before I leave
Depart,
here.
yeah.
Is you mentioned something earlier, and I want to put this out there, that if a need for a support group starts to generate over the next couple of days, that you and I will be supportive of that. The Way Out Recovery wants to offer space for that.
Awesome.
And we want to give people a safe place if we want to bring the community together, if the community wants to come together. And
Yeah,
have
even
a
if
place
it's
to talk about it.
just for one night, or that one
A
night
handful of
sparks
people, whatever.
a second
Whatever.
night or third night, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's out there. So again, it's up to you to say, hey, I think I might want to be a part of that. Right. Start making that phone call. What do they call to set something like that up?
661-296-4444. Give us a call. Ask for me specifically, Bob Sheritz, or call my cell phone, 661-383-6550.
Sounds good.
All right, Alex.
We got
you know what?
Carl
Thank you.
Goldman coming
Thank
back.
you.
All right, appreciate you.
Give me a hug.
Yeah.